Hi, my cool cats and kittens. Let's try this again. Hello, my enlightened ones. Okay, that's more fitting. Gather around. We have a May astrological forecast that you're gonna definitely want to tune in for. Grab your cocktail if you're of age. If not, grab a seltzer. Grab a sage stick and a selenite and a quartz, your crystal of choice. Woo, guys, it's time to unpack May. It's retrograde season, baby. Okay, first things first, Pluto went retrograde April 25th, and it will be for quite some time until early October. What to expect when Pluto goes retrograde? You have to let go of control, and you cannot resist changes that will happen in your life. Now, this is a really, really good time to do massive shadow work during this period. And depending on where Pluto is in your house and the sign that Pluto is in, this is the area of your life where you're going to want to be a control freak. Things are not gonna go as planned. You're gonna wanna dig and investigate and figure out why the outcome isn't matching your expectations. And my advice to you is to let that go. Pluto is supposed to help us really work through that shadow side, but you know, Pluto is also underworld and it's in charge of our ego. So check your ego at the door, at least for the next couple of months, because we're gonna have to work on letting things happen naturally without us trying to dig, obsess, investigate where Pluto is keeping us astray. And then on May 5th, we have our lunar nodes changing signs. So our north node is gonna go from Cancer into Gemini, and our south node will move from Capricorn to Sagittarius. So for the next couple of years, we have our north node in Gemini. What does that mean as far as fated things in our life? Gemini is the storyteller. Gemini is the communicator and the messenger. So this is a really good time to amp up your social media activity and tell your story. Also, it's such a good time to be curious. Gemini is such a curious sign. Ask people questions, have intellectual conversations, just get to know what's going on in people's lives and be able to tell authentically your story. Gemini rules the third house of local travel and local communication. So this is another good time to really get to know the people in your community, get to know your neighbors, walk outside, wave at people, say hello. This is all about day-to-day activities and making sure you sharpen on intellectually bringing in people in your circle around this time. On May 7th, we have a full moon in Scorpio, and like any water sign full moon, it will be very, very loaded with emotions. Now, Scorpio loves to seek the truth and has deep, deep healing properties. So if you're going to do a ceremony and you want to celebrate the full moon, I highly suggest that you do a healing ceremony and a cord cutting ceremony. We do have Pluto retrograde going on during the full moon, so if you want to do a ceremony of letting go of past lovers, letting go of past life traumas, things like that that will heal you in the deepest vibration that Scorpio has to offer, I recommend that. If you are too emotional and you don't want to do a ceremony, I definitely suggest that you follow your intuition on that day, because Scorpio is highly intuitive and it is highly transformational. If you don't feel like doing that, don't feel guilty about it. Just follow the ebbs and flows of what you feel on that day, just like Scorpio would honor you to do in everyday waking life. On May 11th, Saturn will retrograde. Saturn! No, why did you have to do this to us? It's okay, because Saturn will be moving retrograde for quite a bit of time until September. It will also go back into Capricorn, and in July it will be very strong and it will be at opposition. So we have a lot going on. Now, Saturn is, you know, it's the karmic planet. It's the planet of lessons. It's the planet of duty, responsibility, ending a chapter, ending a cycle. So wherever Saturn is in transiting in your house, especially when it goes back to Capricorn, where is Saturn placed in your house, and what lesson do you have to learn from that? Because you honestly only have until December to learn that lesson, and once you learn that lesson, we're gonna continue on because Saturn will move on through Aquarius and probably transit another house of yours eventually. It's not a time to sweep things under the rug. It's a time to look your problems right in the eye and admit what you need to change. Saturn is the father, Saturn is the teacher. So this is a really good time to be disciplined on where you can learn these lessons and how to also let them go. Saturn retrograde. Okay, here is the big one. On May 13th, Venus goes retrograde. Whew, this happens every 18 months and we feel this one strongly because you know Venus is close to us. So not gonna lie, everybody, this is a really hard retrograde and it always proves to be hard for a lot of relationships, or if you're single, it's really hard on body image and self-love stuff. So what can you do during Venus retrograde? You need to be a very strong communicator if you're in a relationship to your partner. Now things will get brought up. I mean, things will surface that will test your relationship. Also, this is not a good time for anybody to change your hair, change your appearance, buy new clothes, anything involving the way you look, aesthetic, anything in your house, your car, anything. It's just for 6 weeks. Just don't do it. Buy wigs. Hey, bought this on Amazon for 20 bucks. I'll send you the link. Focus so much during Venus retrograde on self-love and self-body image love. I'm already feeling the effects of it right now. I mean, like, my clothes just don't fit the way they used to before quarantine. I mean, it's like, whatever. Gotta let it go. You gotta love yourself and you gotta put love out before you. So if you're having relationship problems, and obviously during quarantine, it's like, and if relationships do break up, it's for the best. Venus will force it to happen. Not gonna lie, I've had 2 massive breakups during Venus retrograde, but both of those breakups clearly were for the absolute best for me and for the person I was dating. We weren't meant to be together. Spoiler alert, it's fine. So just bear with yourself, be really, really easy on your heart, forgive others, and have compassion for yourself. Also, don't be surprised if your exes slide in any way. It just happens. It just happens. Venus retrograde makes people go nuts. I said it. Everything's gonna be okay. On May 14th, Jupiter goes retrograde because everyone's just following suit at this point. It's like, well, if they're gonna do it, I wanna do it. If they're retrograding, I wanna retrograde. All right, Jupiter retrograde is not going to be as challenging as the other retrogrades, but you know, Jupiter is in charge of expansion and growth, and when Jupiter is retrograde, it's really the best time for self-reflection. Are you guys seeing a theme here? Retrograde means introspection. Retrograde means me. I'm focusing back on myself. I'm retracting and I'm reflecting. That's a lot what retrograde means. Honestly, right now, we don't have a lot of opportunities to be out and about and to have the experiences and opportunities that we would. This is the perfect time to do your spiritual homework and to really grow your soul and your spirit and make it something that you want to live for. Make your life worth living. Jupiter retrograde is going to help you so much in building a really strong relationship with yourself. So I highly recommend you do that. And it's gonna last until September. So you have plenty of time to work on yourself. Oh, and one last thing I want to say about Jupiter retrograde. First of all, it's gonna conjunct Pluto again in July and then again in November. The Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is a really interesting one because it's going to, whatever you feel really insecure about, Jupiter will expand that and make it into a big problem. So you are going to be tested in massive ways. And what you need to know right now is do not settle at all. Jupiter is really testing you here on how much they want to bring optimism and positivity in your life. And if Pluto's ruling the show and Pluto wants you to stay small, pass the test, do the right thing. And I work on this a lot in my Pathway program with To Be Magnetic, which is all about manifesting your dreams. And we talk a lot about not settling and really standing in your worth. So if there's something that comes up, like an opportunity that is kind of okay, that looks nice, but it's not exactly what you want, just say no and wait for the thing that's really aligned for you. On May 22nd, we have our new moon in Gemini. Oh my gosh, guys, it's literally Gemini season. You guys know the drill with new moons. It's new beginnings, but also this new moon will trine Saturn. It's gonna be a nice little break. Just rebuild and repair. And again, if you don't feel any need at all to do a new moon ceremony, don't. Let's just be really easy on ourselves during this retrograde time. Look yourself in the mirror and be so proud of who you are and what you've come from. And be proud of the strength that you've shown during this time. And be proud of your accomplishments. And be really, really, really proud of just being alive and surviving. And there's no right way to survive. And on a personal level, just be yourself. And if you want to know how these retrogrades are going to impact you specifically based on your natal chart and what areas of your life that these retrogrades will impact, hit me up for a reading. I'm more than happy to go over with you. Or please enlist in an astrologer or a healer that you really trust during this time. This is the time to grow and expand and love yourself. So you gotta do it. I love you. You should love you too. Until next time.
And head to my website if you want to subscribe to a monthly newsletter.